Good afternoon and welcome to the Waffle podcast. My name is Liz Ward and we are on episode 13. This is my podcast where I talk to you about my crafting, my knitting and crochet and whatever little crafty bits I've been getting up to. I'm usually joined by my two co-hosts, Cal, whose bum you can just see here. She's currently looking out the window sunbathing, and Puka, who is my new silver Bengal kitten, who is now, gosh, does anyone... The time has just kind of gone a bit weird, hasn't it? We're currently in the COVID-19 lockdown in the UK. It's been extended for another 3 weeks, so I think for the past 4-ish, maybe more weeks, I've been here by myself trying not to go out, you know. So yeah, I haven't really seen human beings for a month. That's weird. But yeah, it's been fine. I've been keeping busy. I've been trying to crack on with the crochet work. I am a crochet designer. I think I've managed to release a couple of patterns, which has been good. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. So that was, if you heard that, that was the post. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, if you want to know where to find me across the interweb, all of that will have appeared on the screen. I am most active on Instagram. I am Liz Ward Crafts on Instagram, so please do follow me over there. I'm nearly at 1,000 followers, not that followers mean anything, but hey, it's a number. Let's get to 1,000, why not? Yes, so Puka's gone to investigate the postman, and let's crack on with finished objects, because I have quite a few, mainly socks, but there's nothing wrong with finishing a load of socks. I will start with socks because why not? And I think I had one of these finished on the last podcast, and they are both finished now. These are Drops Fable, and I think it was the colourway, I think was the Rose Long Print or something it was called. 64 stitches, 2.25 needle. I don't know why I nearly said crochet hook then. It's normally the other way around, I get it mixed up. These are just a standard vanilla sock. I've done quite a long leg, quite a long cuff. This yarn comes in 50 gram balls. It's very, very economical. I think it's less than £2 a 50 gram ball. So yeah, under a £5 for yarn for a pair of socks. And I wanted to see how far the 50 grams would go, but also I didn't want to have loads left over. So I tried to make these quite long socks and use up as much as possible. I have done a Eye of Partridge heel, flap and gusset. This is the same one that's in the Hermione's Everyday sock pattern. It's brilliant. It's a free pattern and it's such a good heel. I did the garter pickup as well, but well, that one's terrible because I picked up my slip stitches wrong. Don't look at that one. But yeah, I did it wrong because I didn't do garter. I just did reverse stocking stitch because brain and whatnot. But yeah, the main thing that I was doing with these is I was trying out some new needles. I put the thing somewhere. Yeah. These are the needles in question. They are Knit Pro Smart Sticks. So the needle is, it has measurements on it to show every 2 centimetres. I imagine in the US it would show every inch, but we have the metric system over here, so it shows every 2 centimetres. I think I would prefer if it was inches too. Yeah, absolutely hated these. Because they are coated to show the different markings on the needles, you get snags all along. It's not smooth, the needle, at all. I wish I had them to show you, but that's one thing I didn't think to bring upstairs. So yeah, the yarn is fine. I think it's going to be quite hard wearing, quite durable. This colour isn't massively up my street. It's pretty and whatnot, but Puka is a picky eater as a cat. When she came here she was very, very tiny. If you've seen a couple of episodes back when she first arrived, she was super, super tiny. And she's on a special diet. She actually eats raw food, which I have to buy, and it comes in frozen boxes. And it kind of looks like spam or corned beef or very finely minced meat. And it kind of, when it's in the fridge, it's slightly gross. Sorry, this is awful. But yeah, this is what, because I dislike her food so much. I'm not a vegetarian, I eat meat. But it's just unpleasant looking at raw meat. And it does grey, does raw meat, when it's in the light. And that's what this reminds me of. So, yeah. Raw cat food socks, anyone? Anyway, this is, I wanted to knit these to, you know, try out this commercial sock yarn, see what it's like. I enjoyed that. I didn't enjoy the needles. I won't be using those again. But yeah, I think it made a nice pair of socks in the end, even if it does remind me of Puka's cat food. Moving on. Okay, the next pair of socks I finished is, again, I had one of these finished on the last episode. These are the self-striping yarn by the Yarn Badger in the Fireside colourway. I made a pair of these at Christmas for my Christmas box, and I used, I think I had maybe 40 grams left. So what I did was I cast on with the provisional cast on, same needles, 2.25 and 64 stitches. I cast on with a crochet provisional cast on, and I knit a tube, and I just knit all the yarn I had left. And then I used what was left to create these socks. So I went in and put a proper afterthought heel in, and it's a wedge toe, and the rib is again in the Drops Fable, and it's in this nice really sort of rustic fire colour, and I think it works perfectly with these. And it's just a nice way to use up your self-striping yarn. But yeah, second pair of socks finished. Really love these. These will be going to Mum. Yeah, got a few things to put together to give to Mum. And now I'm going to steal these sock blockers, because we'll move on to socks number 3. 3 pairs of socks finished. Can you believe it? So this pattern is the Rose City Rollers. I'll put the details on screen because I can't remember off the top of my head who it's by, and I haven't written any show notes because I'm not a professional. But yeah, these are the Rose City Rollers. This is a pattern that I had in my Ravelry library for a while, but I thought I'm probably not going to be the type of person to wear shorty socks. It's not something I particularly enjoy. But I wanted to get some more socks for Mum, and as it's starting to get warmer, I thought Mum would really enjoy some shorty socks. Shorty socks? Say the words properly. Yeah, so I decided to knit her some Rose City Rollers. I just thought she'd enjoy them, and I really wanted some bright, summery yarn to make them in. And wow, I got like so protective over my stash when I was just like, I'm gonna wind up some yarn to knit Mum some socks, and I was like, my whole stash was like, no, that's earmarked for that, and that's earmarked for that. My handmade, hand-dyed sock yarn stash isn't massive, but at the same time it's just a bit like, whoa, I didn't think I was this selfish. Anyway, I found this skein of Rhapsody yarn. Rhapsody is a dyer I've bought a few things from in the past. I really enjoy her yarn. And this was the one I'd bought from Spring into Wool a couple of years ago. And it was one of those skeins of yarn that you buy when you feel like you're buying, you know, when you're buying, this is for this project, this is for this, we're all being very sensible and whatnot, and then you're just like, I just need something bonkers and colourful. And yeah, this is all the highlighter colours, and I think it was called Toddler Life. I'm not sure if it's one she's still doing. I'm sure if you asked her, she would let you know. Yeah, and this was a painted skein, so it had the 4 colours in like quadrants on the actual skein, if you actually see the skein when it's dyed up. So really nice and bright, and it's striped in this lovely way, and there's a bit of strobing on where I've done the heel decreases. Same sock needles, same sock stitch count. Say that 10 times fast. And I've just done a standard slip stitch, just what's in the pattern. I just followed the Rose City Rollers pattern. Great pattern, and I don't know what heel they did in the pattern because I just did my normal wedge heel, because by that point so Rose City Rollers. And these took approximately 3 days to make a pair, so not bad at all. And yeah, I did cast on another pair straight away, but I have other finished objects, so we'll get to those in a bit. Okay, so the next finished object is a pair of mittens, and a while ago I started knitting these for my friend Erica's birthday. There is a pair, I've just got this one inside out to show you the floats if you are so interested in seeing that. This was knit in, I think, another Drops Fable and Jameson's 2-ply in the cream colourway. And it's a pattern from the Knit Like a Latvian book. And Erica is Latvian, and I thought they would make a lovely birthday present, and her birthday was about 2 months ago, so a bit late, but yeah, they're here, they're finished. As soon as I can see humans again, you can have these. And obviously it's summer now, so it's perfect mittens for summer. Really woolly mittens for summer. But yeah, I think these were knit on a 2.25, also might have been 2.5. They have a small amount of rib and then a Latvian braid, and then it's worked in this colourwork pattern. All the patterns in that book have meaning, you know, they're sort of traditional Latvian patterns, and this is to do with creativity and well-wishing and things like that, so I thought that was really pretty. Plus it's just so pretty. And then a little bit of ribbing on top, and then you put the thumbs in. So as you're working them, you're going to leave a gap and put some waste yarn in, and then you go back in and put the thumbs in. They really weren't difficult, or they didn't take long to do, I just didn't work on them for a long time. But yeah, it is a great book, I really recommend it. She also has a sock book that I've just realised, and now I'm like, I might need that. But yeah, so finished object number 4 is my Latvian mitts. Yeah, so finished object number 4 is Latvian mitts, and while I'm doing finished objects I will do my crochet one, although technically it's a work thing. But if anybody has been here from the beginning, they may remember that I was, one of the reasons I started this podcast was for you guys to bully me into getting the patterns out that it's been taking me forever to do. And definitely one of the ones that have been taking forever is my Nano Gauntlet. My most famous crochet pattern is the Infinity Gauntlet, which if you're a Marvel fan, yeah, it's the gauntlet that Thanos wears in Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. And yeah, I made a crochet version because I thought it would be a silly idea, and thankfully everybody agreed with me. And when Endgame came out, I just can't make, like, I'm so doctrined into the Marvel Universe that I, even now, after it's been out 2 years, has it been out 2 years? A year. It's been out a year. I still can't spoil it. But anyway, there is a Nano Gauntlet in there. There is a different type of gauntlet, and I thought, be rude not to. But it's taken me a year to create that pattern. But it is finished. It is out there. So yeah. The Nano Gauntlet pattern is done. So yeah. What I was stalling on was how to make these joins in the fingers. Because when I've done the original gauntlet, these were raised and they were done with slip stitches. And I wanted this to look more slick, because obviously it's nanotech, it has to be really, really slick and cool. But yeah, so yeah, the Nano Gauntlet is finally done. thank lockdown for one thing. I actually managed to get some work done, and I actually really enjoyed working on this once it got started. Once I was past this hurdle, which was really the only hurdle in it, which was creating these joins. Once this worked, then I was away. And it's done in such a way that the underskin to it is in this gold, and then it's created just like you would create a glove in crochet if you would ever do such a thing. And then you've got this second sleeve bit that is part of it. This part was my favourite bit to create. Just a joyful moment of a for a crochet designer when something comes together and looks, you know, like a wool version of what it's meant to look like. But yeah, so this pattern is out. Everything in my Etsy shop is currently 25% off. At the moment, with everything that's happened, the shop that I work at is shut. I think I'm on the furlough system, so I will get 80% of my wages, but what I won't be able to do is work any overtime. So my only real income at the moment is from my Etsy shop and selling my patterns. So I decided to put it into sale mode, and hopefully that will pay the rent. Yeah. But so yeah, this is in the sale. This pattern is in the sale, as with everything else. All the kits are in sale. The only thing at the moment that isn't in the sale is the kit for this pattern. And that is because where I get the wool from, I can't get any more quickly. Because, again, of everything that's happening with COVID. And I think that is it for works in progress. No. And that is it for finished objects. Right. Yeah, so by all means head over to my Etsy shop. All the details will have been on screen. It is amigurumi barmy on Etsy. Or if you don't want to try and figure out how to spell that, you can go on lizwardcrochet.com. It's simpler to find it through that. Yeah, all on sale, and everything helps me pay my rent because I don't want to move house again. Not that I think my landlords would, you know, everybody's being very understanding, but I don't want to put them in a situation where they're struggling if I don't have to. So yeah, I would like to live in this house for as long as possible. Please buy things. Puka. Doesn't she just look like a little leopard? Oh, bless. She doesn't sleep in the sofa. Cal does, but Cal's disappeared. On to works in progress and where to start. I suppose the easiest thing to start with is the fact that I did another pair of, well, I've started another pair of Rose City rollers, and I have one of them finished. Now, I'm not 100% sure whether Mum is going to get this pair as well. She might do, but then again I might keep them as well. And this was another yarn by Rhapsody Yarn, and it was one that I got myself for my birthday, and it is really nice. No, I didn't. I got it for myself for Christmas. And it's called Summer Skittles. It's rainbow colours, and actually I can show you, one sec. When I wound this off to make the socks, because it only takes about 30 grams to make a pair, I didn't wind the whole skein off, mainly because there was a puka hanging off it. But yeah, you can see that it's a rainbow skein. So it's a painted skein, and it is a proper lovely rainbow. Isn't that beautiful? So yeah, there was a puka hanging off the Swift, and it wasn't worth it. So I just wound off the 30 grams, and yeah, I have one finished. Again, 2.25 needles, 64 stitches. Rose City roller patterns. So all you do is you cast on and you just knit, so there's no ribbing at the top. Yeah, the second one is cast on. I am not 100% sure I wound off enough yarn. I don't know if that's enough left to finish it. I do 20 rows of just plain knitting until I start the heel flap, and I think I'm at about 17 here, and then it just rolls down. I think it says to do about an inch, inch and a half, but 20 rows seemed like a good nice number, so I figured I'd go with that. But yeah, they're pretty fun, aren't they? They look more rainbowy in the heel and in the toe. They've sort of striped, but I think it's quite interesting to see hand-dyed yarn and painted yarn, and how it works up when it's in either a sock or something else. And I didn't realise these would stripe like this, but I kind of love the fact that they do. They're really nice. So yeah, I will finish that second pair, and they may all go to Mum, or I might keep some. But yeah, it's kind of a fun pattern to knit, and I don't know, I maybe have to see if I want to wear them. It's very weird. You alright, Poogs? Okay, what other pattern should I do next? Well, I might as well stick to socks as we're talking. And I also finished the downtown shorty that I had on the needles in the last episode. So this is not a shorty sock. The pattern, the downtown shorties, I think it has only about this much before it goes into the foot. Struggling with words slightly. But as I've mentioned before, shorty socks are not really my thing, although they might start being my thing. So I did a full length leg on this, and I'm glad that I did. I think it's really pretty. And yeah, this pattern has like a slip stitch design, and it really shows off yarn with speckles, and this is a very heavily speckled yarn. It's Yarn Tarts yarn. It came caked, and it's Soft Socks Slingbacks. That is the information there. And this came from Suffolk Socks, who were having a sale, so I think I only paid £10 for it, which was a great deal. And I have the second one on the needles. I'm just past the ribbing, just into the pattern. I haven't got any further with that, but yeah, still loads left. It's absolutely beautiful yarn, and it is quite soft. So I don't know how hard wearing they will be for socks, but they'll be very nice while I am wearing them. So yeah, downtown shorty socks. Isn't that pretty? And yeah, that is it for socks. I'm also working on a couple of sock tubes. I think one I showed the start of on the last episode. I've nearly finished that, but I'm not going to show it today because otherwise we'll be here forever and a day. So yeah, the other works in progress that I am going to talk to you about today. One is a new cast on. Well, no, I've got two new cast ons. Apologies. Oh dear. Okay, my needle has got stuck behind the back of the desk. Okay, this is the Habitation throw, which is a pattern by Helen Stewart. And if you are an avid watcher of podcasts, you will have been seeing lots of people knitting this with Advent minis at the beginning of this year. But recently Helen Stewart made this pattern a free pattern, and I grabbed that opportunity to pick up a copy of it. Yeah, just wanted it kind of in my library. I hadn't had any intention of actually casting it on quite so soon, but yeah, I work from home a lot of the time anyway, so being at home isn't really that much difference to normal, but I do feel like I have more knitting time than normal. And so I felt another blanket project might be a really good idea, because I have my mitered square blanket, but I try not to work on that too much, too often. I do my square or two a day and leave it at that. But yeah, I had 2 cakes of this, which is the King Cole Curiosity in the creme brulee colourway. And I think I picked this up to make a crochet shawl, but nothing was sort of springing to mind. I didn't have any much inspiration in that area. Excuse me. So I thought, why not give this pattern a go with it? And currently it is about 1 metre long, and I have nearly finished the first cake of this. These are 150 grams and it's a DK weight yarn. But yeah, I wouldn't say that's a blanket. So I've ordered another cake of yarn, because this is still readily available as this yarn. It is a commercial yarn, it is 100% acrylic, I think. Yeah, 100% premium acrylic. And you get 480 meters in a cake. And the pattern has you knit till you've used 45% of your yarn, and then you start decreasing. So I definitely want this to get bigger. I did think for a while about just sort of keeping it a small throw and you know, putting it away as like a gift knit for a baby or something like that, but no, I want this bigger. I actually quite enjoying these colours. They're like peaches and browns and whatnot, and going into sort of paley greens. So yeah, I'm going to keep on going with this. It may well be that I order another skein and make it 4 skeins full. Yeah, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get halfway through another skein and see how big I am again. Obviously it's going to stop growing quite as fast because the knitted rows are getting longer and longer and longer. But yeah, it's a lovely mindless project. It has an I-cord edging done in a way I've never done an I-cord before, but I've only ever done an I-cord once before on this shawl, my Starflake shawl. Yeah, so it's all learning new techniques, and so even though it's a garter and eyelet shawl, I am learning new things, and that is good. So yeah, I'm enjoying this. It's a relaxing, mindless project with just that little sort of reminder that you need to think at the beginning and end of each row. You alright, Pooks? I'll leave her there. I'll disturb her towards the end of the podcast. Okay, so next up is another new cast on. This is in my cactus bag. There are some more of these cactus bags left in my Etsy shop actually, the Cassie bags. I'm pretty much sold out of all the other designs, but there are some cactus ones left. So yeah. This pattern was recommended to me by a podcast viewer, Rose. I did a shout out on one of the episodes saying, tell me hat patterns you love or you want to see me making, because if you've watched this podcast, you will know when it comes to hats, I enjoy knitting them, but the finished item can be a bit hit and miss as to whether it fits. You know, I'll wear them regardless, but even so. So Rose recommended a pattern called the Hallis hat. I'll put the design on the screen, and yeah, I bought the pattern and I downloaded it, and I am making this also in Rhapsody yarn. This podcast is not sponsored by Rhapsody yarn, but if she wants to, it's just a happy coincidence at the moment that I am using Rhapsody. She was having a like a clear out, and I'm a sucker for that sort of thing, and I ended up with 2 skeins of DK weight, which I balled up and I was going to make a shawl with, but that shawl didn't work. It just wasn't working out for me. So I'm using the darker to make this hat, which is the Hallis hat. Now, this is, can you see how beautiful that is? This starts with just normal ribbing, but you've got some little twisty cables in there. I love doing cables. And then it's got these panels of cables, and I'm assuming fisherman's rib. I don't know if that's the technical term for it, but it's where you knit into the stitch below. And I've never done that before, and the only time I've ever heard it mentioned is on the Bakery Bear podcast, where Kay was saying that one of her blankets wasn't fisherman's rib, you just knit into the stitch below. But yeah, I'm assuming this is fisherman's rib. And what it gives you a really chunky, it's just, can you see the sort of stitch definition there? It's just pretty amazing. So yeah, if you can see the difference between a normal rib there, where it flows into the fisherman's rib here, and it's just much more defined and much more sort of chunky and whatnot. Technical, is very technical, and it's got some eyelets, and it's asymmetrical in its design, and I kind of love it, and I love the way the yarn is knitting up. It looks absolutely beautiful. That should hopefully be finished by the next podcast, but who knows. Okay, so I only have one more work in progress, but it's a biggie. It's in my big sheepy bag. My big sheepy bag. My sister got me this for a couple of Christmases ago. And this is my Oster sweater. Do I actually have the pattern in here? Chances are no, but I will put all the details on the screen. It is a yeah, this is my Oster sweater. It's the sweater I'm knitting for my friend Richard. I'll put all the details of the sweater pattern on the screen because my mind has gone blank. It is meant to be knit flat, and I have knit the sleeves flat. Both of the sleeves are finished. They are here. They are all wrinkly. This is meant to be, well, no, the pattern suggests that it's knit in Brooklyn tweed, and beautiful as Brooklyn tweed is, it is beyond my budget. So I am knitting this in Drops Nepal, which is an Aran weight yarn. The gauge of the pattern goes between sort of worsted and Aran. I faffed about with it for ages trying to get proper, you know, a good enough gauge, and then I thought, well, if it's a little bit big, it's a little bit big. But yeah, I am knitting this for my friend Richard. I started it at the beginning of the year. I haven't worked on it an awful lot. But yeah, I'll crack on and get a bit of a nice close-up of these cables. Look at those. Oh, that's blowing out slightly. Yeah. So it's like a vine cable pattern that goes up the body. As I say, it's meant to be knit flat, but I decided to work, because the front and the back of the body are worked exactly the same. So up until a point, I can work them in the round. I knit a hat. This is the hat that I knit, which is the same cable pattern. This was my swatch for this. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, this was my swatch for this sweater. So I knit this hat. Where was I going with this? Oh, I was just showing you the cable pattern. And I absolutely love this cable pattern. This is the same yarn, it's just a different colour. It's not the simplest cable pattern. It's 12 row repeat. There's only actually one row that I don't like in that repeat. But yeah. I stalled casting this on. I had done a provisional cast on because on the sleeves, so I thought there was like raw stitches, but there isn't. On the sleeves, I don't know if this will show very nicely, it has you do a rolled hem, which was a new technique to me. Really enjoyed it, and I assumed that I would be doing the same for the body. So I did all the maths to work it out in the round. I took off the salvage stitches off the end, but other than that it was very simple. Apart from the fact that you probably noticed that this rib at the bottom flows into the cable pattern, so it's not a sort of standard 2x2 or anything like that. So I needed to get that placement correct. So I did a provisional cast on, and I knew there was going to be sort of an hour before I started of sitting down and writing out like how the rib was going to work in the round. Yeah, so I was treating myself to a nice morning where I could crack on and get this sorted, and I got everything out, sorted it all out, and instead of a, is it twisted? Rolled hem? Whatever. Yeah, instead of doing that, she said, it says in the pattern to do a long tail cast on, so I ended up doing that. And then I was pretty much firing away. I cast on flat, joined it in the round. You can see this is where the edge is here. So that's the end of the front and the back, and it's the same on the other side. There is a little whoop, little dip in that side because I've cast on flat and knit a couple of rows so I didn't Mobius it. I've got my little friendly sheep. Oh no, he wants to be around this side. I'll show you this side. My little sheep progress keeper from the Corner of Craft, Hannah, lovely Hannah. This has been mauled a few times by Puka. I can't really have dangly progress keepers on things because Puka will eat them. This is made of tiny little beads and has been chewed by Puka, and it is absolutely fine. So I know this one is safe. But yeah, can't have dangly and progress keepers on things. I do have like stitch markers marking every section of the cables. I think that there's 5 main sections on each side and 2 side panels. So yeah, firing away on that. Takes me about a day to do a repeat of the cable. It's a 12-row repeat. I need to do 8 repeats before I split for front and back. So technically, I could have the body of this done in 6 days. Don't think that'll happen, but yeah. Nice, warm winter jumper, ready for my friend in summer maybe? Who knows? I'm sure it'll stall. I'm sure he won't get it before winter. But yeah. Okay. On with acquisition section, I suppose. There's not an awful lot because obviously what with everything that's going on, I have not been spending a penny. Although gosh, I've got itchy fingers when it comes to yarn. I keep going on Instagram and just seeing all the pretty things. Oh, there is going to be a massive blowout when all of this is over and I get my savings pot up. I can feel it coming on. But until that, as I said before, paying rent is the most important thing at the moment. And the bills. Rent and bills. I can survive without yarn. Almost. But I did get birthday present from my mum because my birthday was just at the start of the stay-at-home order, just before we went into lockdown. I think, or were we in lockdown at that point? It was the 28th of March. Anybody know what's happening with time and dates and the course of... Yeah. I can't even remember how long ago that was ago. It feels like ages, but I haven't been anywhere, I haven't done anything, I've just been knitting. But yeah, my mum asked me to get myself something for my birthday, and so I treated myself to these mini sets from Siobhan's Crafts. Go check Siobhan's Craft out on Instagram because she does the most amazing colourways. And I follow her on Instagram and she's been doing these mini sets. Sorry, these wiggle delightfully. And obviously I'm making my mitered square blanket, so I was running out of minis. I needed some mini treats. But as well as being a Marvel fan, one of the other franchises that I'm a massive fan of is Jurassic Park. And pretty much if anyone does anything like dinosaur themed, I'm gonna get it. And yeah, this colourway is the dinosaur, what's that? don't all go out and make dinosaur themed things because I can't spend any money until after the lockdown's over. Please. Yeah, so this was my birthday present, the dinosaur minis. I haven't used any of these. And this one is the Retro Sweets mini set, which is, I think I have used a couple of these, because, you know, they arrived nearly a month ago. And yeah, absolutely glorious, beautiful, beautiful, glorious. Yeah, and my mum also sent me a massive tub of retro sweets, the actual sweets, for Easter, which arrived a couple of days ago. I'll pop in a picture I took if I can on the screen now, because I put these on the thing of retro sweets and it was just like, wow, colour, amazing, glorious. Yeah, so the other thing that, the other thing that I got is this skein of Malabrigo sock in the Flavia colourway. So this is a very pale grey, seafoam green type colour, really pretty, and I really wanted a pale contrast colour to go with a darker Malabrigo for a pattern that I was also gifted. Really sweet. I think, yes, this was by Rose, the lady who suggested the Hallis hat. She sent me this pattern when Puka came home. Puka, who I don't know if you can actually see at the moment, is just flopped. This is a good time of day to film podcast because, yeah, floppy cats. But yeah, she sent me this pattern, which is the kitten moon mitts, and this was on my wish list. I'd seen this pattern and I really wanted to make them. But yeah, she gifted me this pattern and I was just completely blown away, and I was like, I want to cast it on straight away. And then I did the thing that we all do, which is I went to Stash and I was like, oh no, that colour won't work, that colour won't work, that colour won't work. But I had like a beautiful dark Malabrigo in like really dark blues and reds and purples, and I thought if I get a really nice pale one to go with it, that would work really nicely for these. And indeed it would. However, so this I got from Wool Warehouse. I was doing an order for my kits and I tagged this on as a little tiny treat for me because treats are necessary. However, I was looking on eBay at yarn, because even though I'm not going to purchase any, I can look, and I happened to find this seller, and she was actually selling 50 gram skeins, so technically within my budget at the moment, and excuse me, and this one was called Snow Leopard, and one kitten, Snow Leopard kitten, whoop, Snow Leopard kitten. You right, Pooks? Yeah, I mean, this yarn could not be more similar to a very disinterested kitten. So that kind of has to be it for the mitts, doesn't it? I'm not 100% sure what the dark colour's going to be. Probably just a solid, maybe a Drops Fable again. But yeah, it kind of has to be, doesn't it? So yeah, again, thank you, Rose. That was such a sweet surprise and I love it. And now I can't wait to cast those on. Now I've actually finished the Erica's mitts, I can cast on another pair. But yeah, that is everything. We are managing fine. It is just me, Puka and Cal. We're trying not to drive each other too mad. I don't know if you can see my many scratches, but I am living with two leopards. The grumpy face on this. Yeah, she's wearing a collar, which she wasn't last time. She's been going outside, but only into the garden. She's not big enough yet to, she's not big enough to climb out of my garden. It's like a courtyard garden, and she can't get onto the wall, so she can't get out and she can't get under the gate. So she's allowed out there. And she's had her jabs and everything, so that's fine. So yeah, she's got a collar on, she hasn't got a name tag on, and it's slightly comical and oversized because it was Cassie's, because, as again, we're not doing any necessary spending or shopping or going anywhere because of COVID, and I just wanted to get her used to wearing a collar, and she's absolutely fine with it now. But yeah, she's an absolute joy most of the time. She does like to beat me up. As if on cue. And then I get a lick afterwards. Yeah, her and Cal are getting on absolutely fine. If you want daily pictures of cats and knitting, please do follow me on Instagram. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers, don't you know? Really not. It just, you know, I've been in the 900s for a long time. Not that subscribers really mean anything, like I say, but, you know. So yeah, oh, she's so warm in the sun as well. Alright, little sun. Boop. It's difficult not to want to torment her all the time because she just wants to play. But yeah, I think other than that, everything's fine. We'll get past this lockdown situation and everything eventually, and things will somehow go back to normal. But yeah, till then,